Hey everyone, this is my terrarium here where I keep a bunch of pothos vines. It took about 4 years to get this dense, but the entire area above the water is just about filled except where I've trimmed around the filter. Below, it's a very nice environment for the pleco fish. That's the pleco fish hiding up in there. It's the only animal living in here at the time. So I have to do very minimal maintenance because the plants clean the water. I have two filters. There's a lot of turbulence in the water, keeping it nice and clean. I just went ahead and purchased these two grow lights. This one is for the aquarium here, and I can put some small potted plants around it, is my plan. And over here, I put another one up on the ceiling so that in the winter time I can bring in a bunch of plants from outside to try to save them from the winter. I have another one set up here. I bought these lights on eBay. Both of them have something wrong with them. This one here has that one flickering light. The other one has one out. So that's one thing I don't like about that seller. I contacted him trying to get a partial refund so I could purchase another LED. Those are pretty simple to swap out and solder, but they refused to do that. Before I start bringing in the plants, I want to do a little bit of filter maintenance on this aquarium. Okay, now that this is opened up, I'm going to take some scissors and leaves with a little bit of death I'm going to snip out, because if they die and fall in the water, that it's going to make the water acidy for the animal, and it's going to bring the nitrates up. So all these leaves that have a little bit of dead, I'm going to trim out. It's actually good for the plant to do some thinning. In the back here, I have like a trough that the water goes into. It goes down that hole. It's a piece of old gutter from the house. There's another filter here. It goes all the way down that trough into here for good circulation in the tank. This filter here is getting a little bit clogged up. I'm going to be cleaning that today. Back when I used to have a lot of animals in here, these things used to get jammed up all the time, but I usually swap them out a few days apart so the bacteria count doesn't go down too much. But then again, you have a lot of bacteria in the gravel, so even if I did do them both at the same time, that would not make a big difference as long as I do the gravel ways out. So I was able to get a bunch of rotten leaves off of the plant, which is important. Also, ones that are dirty I have to clean off like that because they will start to rot eventually if they have debris on them. Other things like this that have small amounts of fungus starting to grow, that I'll start to wipe off. That's from the high humidity inside of the aquarium, which the plants like to grow in. This filter here, I've recently changed a cartridge. I'm going to be pulling this one out today and cleaning that one out. I just disconnected the filter, and it appears that the plant roots have gone into the cartridge, and I have to break them off before I can pull up the filter. Yeah, there's a bunch of plant roots that are stuck into the side of it. Okay, they all broke free. You see all the debris stuck on here just entered the water. As soon as I turn this back on afterwards, it will suck that back up. I'll clean the gravel in that 1 week, and that'll take care of that. So these cartridges I can reuse a number of times. These ones I usually replace the charcoal until they get worn out. These ones here basically last forever. I've used these things for over 10 years. They never fall apart. You just keep cleaning them out. And if they do fall apart, instead of going to the store and buying these for a huge amount of money, you can buy a 2x3 sheet of this at the hardware store that's made for a furnace. The filter, the plasticky one that won't fall apart in water, and that's a good way to save money. I just squeeze it out a few times and that's about it. Everything you're seeing in there, that's not fish poop or anything like that. It's already broken down. It's all just waste from the aquarium. Because it's already broken down, a lot of this is just plant material that gets sucked up. I'm going to clean this one out as good as I can. And I'm going to replace the charcoal inside before I return it to the tank. Never clean these with soap, because that will cause harm to the animals. Okay, this one seems clean enough. You're not going to get it white again like when you bought it. Time to clean the filter out. You see, the lot's not coming out of the bottom. It's all jammed up inside here, so I got to take a screwdriver and open this thing up. Making sure the screws don't fall down the drain. Not too bad, but I'm going to clean up that impeller a bit. I'll be doing some aquarium water testing on this later on tonight to make sure everything's in here okay. This is some black bamboo I planted a few months ago, and I don't think it'll survive the winter because it's so small, so I'm going to move these, or a few of them, into the house to try to save them over the winter, and the others I'll leave out here to see. These here in this area can get up to 25 feet tall once they get established. Okay, so I went ahead and brought all the plants inside that I wanted to save. These are just some flowers here that are still in good condition. Right here, I brought in 3 of these pepper plants. I transplanted them into this planter with a lot of peat moss to try to get more peppers out of them throughout the winter. This is a citronella plant. My uncle has one of them. He was able to save it for 4 years by bringing it into the house. The basement here, even when it's negative 20 outside, never gets below 50. There's those little bamboo sprouts. Hopefully those will get bigger over the winter. And in the instructions for this light, it says to suspend it between 20, it says 20 inches above the plant. So right now it's probably about 4 feet. So I'm going to get a small chain so I can lower it down. And it says it covers a square area of 1.5 meter. And a meter is just a little bit bigger than a yard. This is a good square of plants that I have here. Hopefully I can get these to survive the winter with this light. That one light that was flickering, I think it just completely is done, burned out. That one light isn't going to be a big problem because I think there's 200 lights on that square. I have this whole thing programmed to a timer here. This timer goes to this power strip, so that light shuts off with the aquarium right here, and it also shuts off with the bird. The pigeon's cage is over here, and that light is on constantly for about 12 hours a day. I don't put an ultraviolet over here for the bird for multiple reasons. In case the wavelength is wrong. That'll drive the bird crazy because lights turn on and off hundreds of times in a minute. The human eye can't see it, but birds actually can if it's a slow rate. So this is how this is lit with that one light for the bird. We can go ahead and give her some time out of the cage for a while. Oh, that's something else I realized. I used to keep a radio down here going when we're not home for the bird. I can't have a radio running with those lights. They interrupt signals.